And she always likes to bring it back to, why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? Because it can be really difficult and challenging, and also be very rewarding.
Welcome to High Trust Professionals, a podcast where we interview top industry and community leaders, business owners, and entrepreneurs from across the country. Hear what it takes to build trust, be a respected leader, be productive, and win your day. Sit back and relax as we dive into another episode of High Trust Professionals podcast.
Hey there, welcome to High Trust Professionals podcast. I am your host, Lynette Arrasmith, here with my friend, Georgia Parment. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. Here's what I love about Georgia. She wears many hats. We have many stories. Let's see, you might call yourself a Rockstar Realtor. Some might call you Colonel Parment. And so give the audience just a flavor of who you are.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. It's
Thanks
wonderful
for being
to be
here. Yeah.
So I joined my family in the real estate business in early 2019.
Okay.
But before that, I was serving in the United States Marine Corp, overseas in Germany.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And so what led you to the Marines?
I think I was graduating college in 1999, and my brother had joined the Marine Corps right after high school. And he was a couple years younger than I was, and he encouraged me to look into the officer program.
Oh,
and so
nice.
I did that. And about 2 months later, I was at Marine Corps Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia.
Wow.
In 1999.
Wow.
So I've been.
That didn't take long.
No, it didn't. And
he's like, come on over.
I still have to give him a little bit of crap for that because I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
Fully.
Right.
But I've been affiliated as an active or reserve member since 1999.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really fun. I love that. Well, and I also love here's, outsider looking in and the time that we've been able to spend together. I see you in any of your roles as someone who has such great patience and kindness, and you have this calm about you. And I think that lends well in business and certainly in the military. You have to know when to be this, but sometimes you have to be that.
Yes.
And especially, I suppose, in when you're in a leadership role.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in charge. So it's so interesting. Let's just stay on that subject for 1 second, because before we started recording, we were talking about you just came back from drill.
Yes.
And so I don't really think that the general public understands what that is when someone says, I'm going to drill. So explain that, because that was real interesting to me.
Absolutely. So when I go to drill, I go to New Orleans, Louisiana. And the unit that I go to down there is called Force Headquarters Group. And my job title is Assistant Chief of Staff, G35, which basically means I am the operations officer for our unit, but also the 16 subordinate units that fall under us. So really, I just try to make sure that the training that they're doing is in line with our priorities, but our higher headquarters priorities, that they have everything they need to be able to do the training, whether it's ammunition, ranges locked on, support from other units. So really, it's just kind of dotting the I's, crossing the T's to make sure that they can accomplish their mission so that their Marines are trained and ready to go whenever they need to go.
It sounds like a big job.
It is a big job.
It sounds like a really big job to me.
But it's very rewarding. But kind of the day-to-day, like when I go to drill, it's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of computer work, kind of putting together PowerPoints. There's nothing sexy about it. It's.
I think it sounds pretty sexy.
It's just it's really just having meetings with people, making sure that things are on track and getting ready. But, New Orleans is a great place to drill. There's a lot of great restaurants. And it's just a really kind of just eclectic place to be able
Very
to go
fun.
once a month.
Interesting, right? Interesting
Very
people.
interesting, yeah. And this past weekend, we actually got to visit the World War II National Museum. So we took a couple
I bet
hours.
That was really awesome.
It's a beautiful museum, and it's a really interesting story.
Yeah, that's great. So I can totally see how. So for our audience, mortgage lending, real estate professional, and so we serve our clients together, and I can see how that military background plays into the way that you run your business.
Absolutely.
Very intentional, organized. Yeah. Yes, and 100%. Which I so appreciate about the way that you do your business. So back to you're following in your family's footsteps.
Yeah.
So let's talk about real estate.
Yes, absolutely. My aunt was she was from Kearney, and she owned the Century 21 brokerage there for over 40 years. So when we were at family events and gatherings, which we were a lot, real estate was always just part of our conversation. And my brother, who I followed into the Marine Corps, he ended up getting an undergraduate degree from UNO, and real estate was one of his minors. And so he went into the real estate business. Then my dad moved to Omaha and got into the real estate business. Then my sister moved to Omaha. So it really has just been kind of a family business for a very long time. And so when I was coming back from Germany, switching back into the reserves, I was looking for some flexibility, but also some support to kind of help train and, very trusted individuals to lean on. And so joining the family business was kind of the best decision, and just really rewarding. To do that.
Well, to have support.
To have support.
So important. Plus being with a brokerage that you feel that you have that support. And I know you love RE/MAX.
Yes.
And it's just kind of falls into, I would say, the culture that you would expect. Yeah. And you were telling me about the mission statement. And so tell us, what is the mission statement for RE/MAX?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was, as I was saying prior to the videoing, anytime that our broker, Lisa Ritter, gets us together for training or just meetings, we always start with our mission statement. And she always likes to bring it back to, why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? Because it can be really difficult and challenging and also be very rewarding. But our mission statement at RE/MAX Results in Omaha, Nebraska is to change lives one relationship at a time by making real estate dreams a reality.
It's perfect.
It's very simple. It's simple. Very perfect.
It's not too long. And that's so true, isn't it? That's what we do. We help people with their goals and with their dreams of home ownership. I love that. And we feel the same way. If we can't do what we do from our heart, then we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the way that I look at it. Yeah. So being a realtor, a superstar, rock star, awesome real estate professional, comes with some flexibility. I mean, you're running your own business. You're an independent contractor. And so what are some habits that you do or some things that you make sure are in play to ensure your success?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because working for yourself can be very rewarding, but it can also be just very easy to slack off, procrastinate and things like that. But, my broker has just wonderful processes put in place so that, you can get from point A to point B to point C in a very methodical, succinct, just so that nothing falls through the crack process. And so I have a closing spreadsheet that I use for every transaction, and it's everything that you have to do in the entire process. And so I go through that with every client, and it's before, it's during, and it's also after the transaction closes. I keep track of, my contact list, which is really just what I feel like are my friends and family, the people that I'm able to serve within, buying a home or selling their property. And I use the Buffini referral maker system.
Same.
And
love it.
it's a wonderful
It keeps you
process.
organized.
Yeah.
It helps you know who needs a touch. Is it a note? Is it a call?
Exactly.
We use that also.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program.
One of the things that you said reminds me of kind of one of our mottos, which is same way every time. So if you do, you have the process, you have the before, the during, and the after, and it's the same way every time, then nothing gets missed. And you have a great client experience, and it's something that they want to tell others about.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what we hope for.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So there are so many people that do what you do. So many people that do what I do. And so why you?
Yeah.
If you're on a listing appointment or you're meeting with the buyer and one of their awesome friends says you better talk to 3.
Yeah, right.
That's not true. That's not a requirement. It's not a law. But then why you? Why would someone want to hire you? Let's talk about that rock star status.
Yeah, that's a great question. Everybody is not going to fit with my personality, just like I'm not going to fit with everyone's personality. But you had mentioned patience earlier, and I really find that the people that I connect with most and just truly just feel so much joy working with is elderly clients that are making that transition. And they're one of the clientele that I just love working with, but I really do have patience. I feel like I'm an active listener, and I'm not thinking of my response as I'm saying it. But I really just feel like I have patience throughout the process. And I'm very passionate about what I do. Just through my processes, I'm able to ensure that nothing gets dropped. I'm leading somebody through this transaction. They're making the decisions, but I'm really just leading them through, providing them the information, giving them the details so that they can make the best decision for themselves. So I would just say passion, patience, and just being a military member. I really do also love working with military members that are transitioning here. I've moved across the globe, multiple times, and it's not easy. But being able to just calm any fears or anxieties that they have about, moving here from Korea or, wherever it may be, just having that knowledge of what they've gone through, I think is just a significant benefit to why somebody would choose me.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Yeah, we do a lot of work with military families as well. And sometimes we have one right now coming from Germany and another who's coming from Virginia. And so, it could be across the world, it could be across the United States, but still it's disruptive to a family, disruptive to, a career, if there's any change or transition that's going on there. For sure. So I would pick you, Georgia.
Thank you.
Like I said, I love the way that you do your business. So do you have a favorite client story? Like what's something awesome that you were able to do with or for someone?
I think I probably have a lot, but I'm gonna, I guess, share just a recent one. I helped a seller. She had lived in this property for 55 years. Her husband had passed away several years ago. And so, the home was just getting to be a little bit more than she could care for, wanted to care for. And she was really transitioning just into a different facility. So, the joy on her face when I, after closing, when I went to see her in the new,
Her
place
community.
that she had moved. I mean, she had friends that she had already met. She was playing cards. She'd been there like a week, and she was already set up on card games.
Awesome.
And saying hi to people in the hallways and introducing me to people. And it was just it was like a weight had been lifted, just because she was able to sell the home, get what she wanted out of it. and just have the peace of mind that, that property that she loved and cared for 55 years was now in the hands of a new buyer. And that was just a really neat experience.
That's great.
So, yeah.
I think that there are so many parts and pieces to a transaction, whether it's your side of it, our side of it, and our job is to make sure it doesn't feel like a transaction. I think to those that we're working with, and I kind of liken it to being a pilot. Okay, we're gonna fly across the country, or we're flying across the city. My job is to help control and handle the turbulence that might come along the way, and make sure
that's a good way
that they trust that I've got you. And so often, you get that call and there's some anxiety, and I'm like, I got it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
I'll let you know if you have to panic, and the answer is no.
Yeah.
Yes. The answer is no.
Yes,
I'll tell you if you do.
Right.
So I can totally see that.
Yeah.
So back to the military for a minute.
Yeah.
So your brother, gotcha. Right?
Hook, line, sinker.
Here she comes. And so what's some advice you would give someone who might be considering joining the military?
Well, I
choose the Marines.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. No, I would encourage them to look at all the services.
Yes, of course.
Because there's so many. We're all so different.
Mm-hmm.
And what might work for one definitely doesn't work for another.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have different bases that you could go to, different missions. So if somebody's really interested in like being on a ship and sailing all over the world, I would say, well, go check out the Navy.
Right.
But I think probably just find somebody that has served, or, a family member that has served, and just talk to them about what it was like. And probably if they're talking to somebody that's a lot older, it's going to be different today than it was back then. But I think just, ask questions, don't sign anything until you know 100% what you're doing, but look at all of the options, because there's a lot of good options and there's a lot of good benefits for serving in the military. I was able to use my GI Bill to get a master's in business administration in 2009.
That's
and
great.
Fun fact, in 2004, I used it to go to massage therapy school. So
wait a minute, I did not know this.
I know.
I did not know. We uncovered something new. I better write that down. Right. Really? I have this thing right here.
I know, right? Me too.
But, and did you do anything with it?
We ended up, I got my schooling done in Colorado, and then we ended up moving to New York for my husband's school. And so it was just kind of dead in the water there. But I can tell you, I felt better that one year I was in massage therapy school than I think I have in a very long time. The benefits of massage are just wonderful.
They are. Well, and the benefits of, and I think that not unless someone's looking at a military career or option, they don't realize the benefits there either. Like you said, the education piece.
Yeah.
Going to school while you're serving.
Right.
And creating either something within what could be that military career, right? Or you choose to retire, and or your time is finished and you can go do something else.
Absolutely.
So I think that's great. How about someone who's considering a career in real estate?
Yeah.
So often I think people think, well, I like houses, I think I'll get my real estate license.
Yeah.
But you have to treat it like a business.
Yes. Absolutely.
So advice for someone who thinks, real estate looks like maybe a good option for me.
Yeah. Well, I would just say maybe shadow a realtor on an exciting day, maybe not one where the realtor's just sitting at a desk doing spreadsheets, although that would be good,
Yes.
because there's a lot of just administrative work that comes with it. But, going out and showing homes, or, going on a listing presentation, learning to kind of read people, because everyone is different. Anytime you walk into a buyer appointment or listing appointment, people are just different, and you really have to figure out, okay, what's the best way to communicate with this person? How do I communicate with them? How do they process the information? So,
Very
I
good.
would just encourage somebody to talk to a realtor, try to shadow them, look into the licensing. It's not super easy. I've known people that have had to take the test more than 10 times to pass it. I know.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. In 1990, I'm going to age myself. In 1994, I became a real estate professional, took my test, and I was a real estate agent and broker for 15 years. And back then, it was difficult. I found the broker test to be even more difficult, actually. So, it's not as simple as going and taking your driver's test, right?
Right.
You have to know things. There
You need
are
to
rules and
study.
guidelines and
Absolutely.
all of those fun things.
Yes.
So, if you could choose one person to shadow or to have as a mentor or even just to have a cup of coffee with, who would that be?
Oh, you're going to stump me here. I mean, my broker, Lisa Ritter, so she's been in real estate in Omaha for 20 plus years. She is a real estate commissioner now. So I have access to her, right? I work, in her office,
which is such a benefit.
It's such a benefit, yeah. And she has her processes down. She's an active realtor, and so she's going through the exact same things that we have done and do every day. So I would say if I was going to have coffee with somebody, maybe I would say, and I'm just totally throwing this name out there, but Herb Freeman. I think Herb Freeman
Really?
is his last name, but Herb. Do you know Herb? He was with MP Dodge for a long time.
He was with CBS for a long time before they became CBS Home, and wealth of information. Yeah. Right?
And he was, so he's one of my brother was with MP Dodge for a long time. Oh. He was just a very good friend, and I met Herb through my brother. And every time I see him, we have that connection. Yeah. And, but, I think just understanding kind of real estate in Omaha over the past 40 years and just getting that information would be just really interesting.
Interesting, right?
Really interesting.
So to the market. Before we wrap up, let's talk about the real estate market. Yeah. Gosh, rates in my world, they've snuck up, but it's still, there's still ability to buy for sure. Inventory's been light, although I see more listings coming on. Yeah. So what do you think? Here we are in the midst of spring, on the edge of spring.
Yes.
What are you thinking?
Well, I definitely think the spring market has sprung. So, maybe not the way it was the past 2 years, like crazy COVID, which is good, but just getting back to the spring market the way it was pre-COVID. So we are seeing listing numbers are up. Yep. So inventory is up, closings are up. So you might not be seeing 10 to 15 offers on a property, but you might be getting 3 to 5, which is still signifies a seller's market. The wonderful thing about Omaha is that we have such a great, diverse economic industry here. So we have people constantly moving in, moving out, and there's a shortage of homes. And until the construction industry can keep up with that, you're still going to see that seller's market, that seller's edge.
Yes. So true. So now I'm a buyer and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a seller's edge and there are multiple offers. And so what's your best advice for a buyer in this market?
Yeah. Buyers really need to be able to figure out what's important to them. And, if it's buying a home that, they're not going to waive an inspection, then, which I would never advise somebody to waive an inspection, but buyers do it every day because they have to compete. But, they just really need to know how far they can go, whether it's over asking price, whether it's waiving inspections. I will advise a client what I believe they need to do, but at the end of the day, they have to make the decision because they're the ones that are living in the house, buying it, have to live with that monthly payment. So I work very closely with the lender, like yourself,
which is so important. Yes, I think also what I have found is singing the same song, telling them the same thing.
Yeah.
And with my real estate background, it's not even like we have to kibitz about now what are we going to say, because we just know it's going to be competitive. Put your best foot forward. Let's decide what you're comfortable with and what you're not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, giving options. That's one thing
Absolutely.
I heard you say, which is golden, is give options. It's their decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they'll move forward, and they'll either win or they won't, and then they'll move on.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll structure their next deal a little different if they found that this one thing over here prevented them from getting the home.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think what I would say is someone like yourself who does listen, who tells them the real deal. Here's the market, guys. We're not going to sugarcoat it. And here's how we can forge forward. Yeah. This, you know, A, B, or C. Yeah. Where are we going to move the turtle shells around?
The other thing that I just want to mention is that, you know, a lot of buyers will come in with, especially if they're transitioning here, like military or, you know, relocation, they'll come in with lenders from out of town. And I always think that having the upper edge, you know, being with someone local like yourself, so that, you know, the listing agent and the sellers can see that it's a bank, it's local, we can get a hold of these people, we know who they are, maybe we've driven by it or worked with them. And I think that that's so important, just, you know, ensuring that the buyers are set up so that they have the most success.
Absolutely, 100%. And buyers think that's not true, and it is true.
That's very true.
You know, we have, knock on wood, we've won deals because either they knew me the time I've been in the market, or because we were local versus a non-local. And sometimes it's even the structure of the loan, helping someone see that maybe it's maybe we look at a 7 or 10-year adjustable rate mortgage versus a 30-year fixed, because we will absolutely refinance in the short term, get their payment where it's comfortable for now, so they're comfortable. It gives them a little more buying power.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think just kind of noodling together on what that looks like, and that's why I love working with you and your clients.
Yes, same.
So, okay, guys, guess what? That's a wrap. Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you
for taking the time to spend with us, High Trust Professionals Podcast. I'm Lynette Arrasmith, your host. Don't forget to find us on social media. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me at my website, georgiaparment.com.
Parment. Excellent. You can find High Trust Professionals Lynette Arrasmith, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. See you next time.